Welcome to the Tell Us Ellis podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the last team previews for the MLB 2026 season. Today, we're going to finish off with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Miami Marlins. Excited to get through all of these 30 teams. It has been a grind, probably more than I thought, just given the time frame over which I did this and the research involved and so forth. And by no means am I complaining. I'm just saying this was a very deep dive as I think ahead to like next season and so forth. I think this did a lot of laying the foundation for where these teams are, like historically and so forth. So it might not be as deep in the future, but this, I'll tell you, you can always go back to these recordings and listen to where these organizations stand. So from that standpoint, that's really good. I did get a couple emails about that related to being happy that I did go back a little bit into history, talk about the front office structure, ownership, etc. So really appreciate the feedback. Please always give me feedback. Send me emails, jamie@tellusellis.com. Reach out to me on X or on Instagram @telluselishq. And if you do listen to these podcasts regularly, I would ask that you just subscribe to them on whatever platform you use. Could be any podcasting application, software, might be YouTube, might be Apple, might be Spotify, wherever you listen to it. Just click the subscribe button. That would be great. And then give me a thumbs up if you like the podcast. Send me some messages. I would love to hear a little bit more from you. So we've got this recording today. I'll do my overall 2026 preview this weekend. Season starts off next week. Really excited for it. But now let's get into first the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I debated whether I wanted to start with the Dodgers or the Marlins, obviously two teams in different places in baseball, but I'll start with the Dodgers. This is an unprecedented organization. It really is. When you look at them, they are remarkable, the run that they've been on. 13 straight postseason appearances, no back-to-back losing seasons since. And by the way, after they had that back-to-back losing season in 86 and 87, they promptly won the World Series in 1988. So this is a team that in recent history has been remarkable. 2021, they go 106 and 56, which incredibly was second place, one game back. They win the National League wild card 1-0 over St. Louis, win the NLDS 3-2 over San Francisco, and then lost in the NLCS 4-2 to Atlanta. 2022, they win 111 games, 111 wins and 51 losses, finish in first place, and they promptly lose the National League Division Series 3-1 to the Padres. So very disappointing. 2023, they win 100 games, go 162. They lose the NLDS 3-0 to Arizona. Dave Roberts, their manager, is kind of on the hot seat at this point. 2024, they only win 98 games. I only say 98 games. I mean, 98 is extraordinary, but 98 and 64. They win the NLDS 3-2 over San Diego. They win the NLCS 4-2 over the Mets, and they win the World Series 4-1 over New York. So Dave Roberts kind of redeemed as manager, all as well. And then last year, it's their lowest win total in the 5 years that I kind of have focused on here. They win 93 games, 93 and 69, finish in first place, win the National League wild card 2-0 over Cincinnati, win the National League Division Series 3-1 over Philadelphia, win the National League Championship Series 4-0 over Milwaukee, and then win the World Series, a great World Series, 4-3 over Toronto. At the end of June, they were up 7 games. They had a 7-game lead. They did go 10 and 14 in July and were only up 3 games at that point. And they had a 7-game losing streak during that time. They fell out of first place twice in August and lost 5 in a row to start September. They were only 1 game up in early September, but they went 15 and 5 to finish the season and end up with that World Series championship. I already mentioned Dave Roberts as the manager. He's been there since the beginning of the 16 season. He's a former MLB outfielder, played several teams, including the Dodgers. He is a consistent winner, strong clubhouse leader, positive, communicative, good at managing personalities. He's got great alignment with the front office. He is criticized for in-game decisions, especially in the postseason. Look, keep in mind the Dodgers' expectations are just different than other teams in Major League Baseball. They have one goal, that is to win the World Series. And Dave Roberts has won back-to-back World Series. So I think his job is safe. General manager, their president of baseball operations is Andrew Friedman. He was hired from Tampa Bay in 2014. Very influential executive. He handles roster construction, player development, analytics, draft strategy, front office hires. He's one of the smartest executives in baseball. He is the pioneer in an analytics-driven world. He is the architect of the Dodgers' sustained success. They do have a general manager, Brandon Gomes. He was promoted to general manager in 2021. He's a former MLB pitcher. He worked in Dodgers player development and pitching strategy. He carries out the vision of Andrew Friedman. He's viewed as a modern executive who brings analytics and player relationships together, strong collaborator with Friedman, really strong front office. From an ownership standpoint, the Dodgers are owned by Guggenheim Baseball Management. They bought the team in 2012 for $2.15 billion. Mark Walter is the controlling owner and the chairman of the group. Magic Johnson is a minority owner and kind of the public ambassador of the team. They are perceived as financially very powerful, very stable, willing to spend aggressively at all times. And we have seen that, and it's a big reason that the owners are going to seek a salary cap after this season. And it could be a big reason why we head into purgatory of lockout, strike, whatever it's going to be. It's not going to be very good after this season, so let's enjoy it. But the Dodgers are one of the compelling reasons as to why the MLB system, in many people's minds, does not work. By the way, their payroll, estimated 2026 payroll, is $395 million. That's $395 million. The other team I'm going to talk about today is the Miami Marlins. Their estimated payroll for 2026 is $73 million. $73 million versus the Dodgers' $395 million. That is a problem. That is a problem in baseball. Dodger Stadium, legendary stadium. I believe it's the third oldest stadium in baseball behind Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. It plays a little bit run heavy, up about 2% on average, plus 102 on a 100% or 100 average. April is down 4%. May is up 5%. June is down 5%. July is up 2%. August plays about average. And then September is up about 2%. Again, that all has to do with the impact of the wind and the air density at different points in time of the year. This is a team that didn't have the largest number of player changes, but some of them were very impactful. So who did they lose? Tony Gonsolin's still a free agent. He's likely out for all of 2026. He had Tommy John surgery. So he's a free agent, 3-2 with a 5 ERA last year. Michael Kopech was in the bullpen. He is still a free agent, 0-0 with a 2.45 ERA last year. That was only in 11 innings pitched, but Kopech, very big prospect for the White Sox several years ago. Now more bullpen. That's where he pitches mostly. And again, still a free agent. Kirby Yates was a relief pitcher for this team, signed with the Angels in the offseason. Yates 4-3 with a 5.23 ERA. He did appear in 50 games, 41 1/3 innings pitched. I talked about Anthony Banda in a previous podcast. He's with the Twins now. Banda, I do like, 5-1 with a 3.18 ERA. He appeared in 71 games for the Dodgers, 65 innings, 61 strikeouts, and a 122 whip. And then Michael Conforto signed with the Cubs. Conforto, 199 last year, 12 homers, 36 RBIs. So he had a 638 OPS. When you look at that, not big losses for the Dodgers in the offseason. Yeah, maybe a couple solid bullpen arms, but beyond that, didn't lose a whole lot. What did they add? I'll start with some of the guys they re-signed. Miguel Rojas was shortstop for the Dodgers last year. They re-signed him, batted .262, 7 homers, 27 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, a 715 OPS. Kiki Hernandez, a great utility guy for this team. He was re-signed, batted .203, 10 homers, 35 RBIs, a 621 OPS. And then Evan Phillips, a good relief pitcher, re-signed with this team. He will miss the first half of the season at least. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery, only appeared in 7 games last year, but they like him and they re-signed him. The 2 big acquisitions, free agent acquisitions in the offseason. The first was Edwin Diaz, closer, 6-3, 1.63 ERA, pitched in 62 games for the Mets last year, 28 saves, 66 and a third innings, struck out 98 batters, pitched to a .087 whip. Dominant closer, and he came back from injury last year and had another really dominant season. And then the one that put baseball over the edge was Kyle Tucker. Tucker, probably the most the biggest impact bat in the free agency market this year. He ends up signing with the Dodgers, batted .266, 22 home runs, 73 RBIs, 25 stolen bases, and 841 OPS. So Tucker, the rich get richer. What can I say? Diaz and Tucker. So, by the way, before I get into the breakout of this team and their 25-man roster and what it'll look like, this is a team that always draws well. And I know it's Los Angeles. I know it's a big market. That the year after COVID, when there were still restrictions for fans, they still drew 2.8 million fans. 2022, they draw 3.9 million fans. 2023, 3.8 million fans. 2024, 3.9 million fans. And they drew over 4 million fans last year. You see some of these teams that bitch and complain about owners not putting up money, yet they draw less than 1.5 million fans. And then you see the Dodgers here drawing 4 million fans. So look, I get it. Sometimes when you spend money, it brings people out to the stadium. It's a chicken and egg game, but you always, always, always have to support your team in good and in bad. Heck, I've been a Colts season ticket holder here in Indy for the last 14 years. They've been awful. I mean, yes, Andrew Luck had a run here, but the last however many years, 6 years, 7 years, it's been awful. We go to every game, okay? And I know it's baseball versus football, but I'm just saying support your team. So offensively, this is a team that finished 6th in average and 5th in on-base percentage and 2nd in OPS last year, and their lineup just got even better. So Shohei Ohtani, best player in baseball, right? I think I can say that unequivocally. He'll DH for them. Ohtani, 282 last year, 55 home runs, 20 stolen bases, 392 on base percentage, 622 slugging percentage. Unbelievable player. Just one of the absolute all-time greats. He will be followed in the lineup by Kyle Tucker. By the way, this is my projection. It's also Fangraph's projection of the lineup. Doesn't mean it's what it's going to be, but I will say Kyle Tucker will follow him. Tucker will play right field. Again, 266 last year, gets on base at a 377 clip, 464 slugging percentage, 22 home runs, 25 stolen bases. So they will be the guys that are getting on base or hitting home runs, driving themselves in. Mookie Betts will play shortstop, and I have him in the third hole. Betts, 258, 20 home runs, 8 stolen bases. Doesn't get on base as much, 326, a 406 slugging percentage. There is something to be said about him falling back in production a little bit. He's 33 years old now, but, look, Mookie doesn't have to do everything he did when he was in Boston. He just needs to be a contributor to this team. Freddie Freeman's going to go out and play first base. Freeman's now 36-year-old, so he is a veteran. Last year's kind of declined down the second half of the year, but still batted .295, 24 home runs, 6 stolen bases, gets on base at a 367 clip, 502 slugging percentage. Good numbers for Freddie Freeman. Will Smith, one of the best offensive catchers in the game. Smith batted .296 with 17 home runs, a 404 on base percentage, 497 slugging percentage. Really good numbers for your catcher. Max Muncy is a third baseman. He's a left-handed batter, could get platooned a little bit. Only batted .243 last year, 19 home runs. He does walk a lot, gets on base at a 376 clip, 470 slugging percentage, fits nicely into that lineup. Then you have Teoscar Hernandez, left fielder. Teoscar, what did he do? He only hit 25 home runs for this team. 247 hitter. Back end of the order, he doesn't get on base that much, 284, but that is okay when you have those guys ahead of you in the lineup. Andy Pages is a center fielder. This guy, 272 last year, 27 home runs, 14 stolen bases. It's pretty remarkable. He signed with the Dodgers originally in 2018. He was an amateur free agent out of the Dominican, and he really came along nicely last year. And then Hai-Seong Kim, second baseman, another left-handed batter, could be platooned, batted 280 last year, 3 home runs, 13 stolen bases. That was only in 170 plate appearances. When you look at the bench for this team, Dalton Rushing is the backup catcher, 204, 4 home runs, and 155 plate appearances last year. You've got Miguel Rojas re-signing. He's a utility infielder, batted 262 with 7 home runs last year. Santiago Espinal right now is a non-roster invitee. He could be signed to this team and play infield, outfield, utility. 243 last year, no home runs, 2 stolen bases. And then Alex Call is an outfielder. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes this roster. McCall, 267 last year with 5 home runs, and he gets on base at a 361 clip. So will this team be in the top 5 in hitting? I absolutely think they will. This is an unbelievable lineup any way you slice it and dice it. What about starting pitching? So starting pitching, this team finished 5th in ERA, 7th in WHIP, and what do they have? So Yoshinobu Yamamoto really came out and pitched well last year, pitched well in the World Series, broke out. 2.49 ERA last year, started 30 games, 173 and 2/3 innings, 113 hits, 201 strikeouts, incredible numbers, true number 1 starter. Tyler Glasnow, you look at his numbers, it was a 3.19 ERA last year, 90 and 1/3 innings, just 56 hits, 106 strikeouts. He only started 18 games, and that is the one thing you worry about Glasnow. Now, I don't worry about it if I'm a Dodgers fan because I think they cover themselves in other areas, but Glasnow's injury history kind of has caught up with him a little bit. He's 32 years old. He'll be 33 during the season. So it's an area to watch if you're the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, assuming he will come out and pitch pretty regularly. Last year, he started 14 games, was really good, 47 innings, 40 hits, 62 strikeouts, and a 2.87 ERA. They watched him very carefully, though. They do not want him to get hurt and do anything that will hurt his ability to bat. Emmett Sheehan is a 26-year-old, got 12 starts last year, pitched really well, 73 and 1/3 innings, just 49 hits and 89 strikeouts. Pitched to a 2.82 ERA. So again, the Dodgers, he was a sixth round pick to the Dodgers in 2021. Anybody in baseball could have drafted the 5 rounds before and picked him up, but the Dodgers signed him, and he had a really good year last year, and he's going to get the ball every 5th day. And then Roki Sasaki is right now slated to be the 5th starter. Sasaki came over from Japan in 2025, last year's first full season. Only 8 games started, 36 and 1/3 innings, 30 hits, 28 strikeouts, and a 4.46 ERA. Do I think this team can be top 5 in pitching? I think when you have Yamamoto, a healthy Glasnow, Ohtani getting, call it 20 starts this year, 20 to 25 starts, Sheehan doing what he did last year, and then Sasaki just getting more comfortable with Major League Baseball, yes, I think this team could be a top 5, maybe top 10 starting pitching in all of baseball. You really like what they have from a rotation standpoint. What about bullpen? This is one area they did struggle a bit last year. They finished in the bottom third of the league, 21st in ERA, 22nd in WHIP. They do have a legitimate closer, one of the best in baseball, Edwin Diaz. I gave you the numbers, 28 saves last year, a 1.63 ERA, 66 in the 3rd innings, just 37 hits and 98 strikeouts. That allows Tanner Scott to go back into a setup role. Scott, the left-hander, originally from the Orioles, but Scott, 4.74 ERA last year, not acceptable for the amount of money they signed him for. 23 saves, 57 innings, 54 hits, and 60 strikeouts. So again, he'll move back up into a setup role. Alex Vesia is really their other setup guy. He's also a lefty. Really good numbers for Vesia, 59 and 2/3 innings, 37 hits, and 80 strikeouts. He pitched to a 3.02 ERA. When you look at their middle relief, I'll start with Blake Treinen. Treinen, a 5.40 ERA last year, 26 and 2/3 innings, 30 hits, 36 strikeouts. Because their bullpen was shaky, he had to be put into games where maybe a lot more pressure was on him. I think now he settles back into middle relief. I would expect a good year from him in middle relief. They've got Jack Dreyer. Dreyer last year, 76 and 1/3 innings, just 56 hits and 74 strikeouts, pitched to a 2.95 ERA. Will Klein in middle relief, just 15 and 1/3 innings last year, 14 hits, 21 strikeouts. He pitched to a 2.35 ERA last year. So again, good numbers. Justin Roblinski has the potential to make this bullpen in middle relief. 66 and 2/3 innings, 65 hits, and 76 strikeouts last year. Pitched to a 4.32 ERA. Edgardo Henriquez is another potential middle relief arm. One save last year, only pitched 19 innings, 17 hits, 18 strikeouts. Pitched to a 2.37 ERA. And then from a long relief standpoint, I'll throw out Ben Kasparias. I think he could be the long relief guy for this team. He was a 5th-round pick of the Dodgers back in 2021. 77 and 2/3 innings, 78 hits, 71 strikeouts last year, 4.64 ERA. I think this bullpen has improved. I think it's a top half of the league now with Diaz clearly closing. Scott, Vesia moved back. A guy like Treinen, little less pressure on him. If there is an area where the Dodgers could improve, or an area that could be their Achilles heel, I think it's the bullpen, but they're so strong hitting and they've got a really good starting staff. It does hide a lot of those things. They do have a couple other guys I want to talk about that are currently injured. Tommy Edman had ankle surgery back in November. Edman, a switch hitting infielder, outfielder, utility guy. I would expect him to be back on this team sometime, I don't know, May, June, somewhere like that. Gavin Stone, shoulder inflammation in February. We'll have to see where this goes. Stone, 27 years old, could have been a starting pitcher here, but battling these shoulder issues. We'll see how quickly he can recover from that. Brewster Gatterall is another relief pitcher who had shoulder surgery in November of 24. We'll see how he recovers. Is he going to be able to throw for the Dodgers sometime this year? I talked about Evan Phillips and him having Tommy John surgery in June of last year. If he appears this year, it'll be towards the tail end of the season. Brock Stewart is another relief pitcher who had shoulder debridement surgery, or debridement surgery, I should say. He had that in September of 25. We'll see if he is able to pitch at some point this year. And then the other person I want to talk about is Blake Snell. So Blake Snell has shoulder fatigue. I don't know. The Dodgers are keeping this very hush-hush. He pitched last year in the World Series, in the playoffs. And this just may be a case of them slowing him down a little bit. They don't really need him opening day. They don't need him for the first month of the season. So they might just be giving him a little bit more time to get ready for the season. So the Dodgers, again, very good team right now. What about their farm system? They have been a top 10 farm system since 2021, at least 21. I went back to 2021. 21 through 25, they've ranked 9th, 8th, 3rd, 9th, and 3rd. Right now, they are 13th. That's how Baseball America ranks them. They're 13th. It sounds like, it's their worst ranking since at least 2020, but they do have some players that have a lot of potential. So I will start with Eduardo Quintero. He is their top prospect, 20th overall in baseball. Outfielder, 6 foot, 75 pounds. He signed with the Dodgers in 2023 as a catcher, but then shifted to center field because he had a lot of speed and athleticism. He helped his teams win championships. His team won the Dominican Summer Championship and the Arizona Complex League Championship. He's ranked as the #1 prospect in the ACL in 2024. 2025, he hit 19 home runs, stole 47 bases between low A and high A ball. Little doubt about his ability to make contact and get on base. He has power potential, but there is a little bit of question with that because he tweaked his swing plane. It was a little too flat. The Dodgers wanted him to elevate it a little bit. He did add some loft. And, you know, look, he more than tripled his career home run total last year, although his exit velocities were relatively the same as previous years. He did lower his ground ball rate from 43% to 35.5%. Again, a guy with this kind of speed, you want to see him hit the ball in the gaps. 113 games he played in 2025. It was the highest total of his career. He probably needs to add a little more strength. Again, he's 20 years old, 6 foot, just 175 pounds. He does have above average speed, as I said. He also has an above average arm. He'll likely start at high A ball this year, maybe double A, but high A ball. He should get to the upper levels in short order. He could be an everyday center fielder who provides a ton of value on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. His hit grade is a 60. His run grade is a 55. Again, like to see him put on a little more muscle and maybe hit a few more home runs. Jose DePaula is the Dodgers' second best prospect, 24th overall. Another outfielder, 20 years old. DePaula is 6'3", 185 pounds. He signed with the Dodgers in 2022 and excelled in the Dominican Summer League. He then skipped the Arizona Complex League and went right to low A ball and split times between low A and high A ball. He did reach double A in 2025 as a 20-year-old. He's one of the purest hitters in the system. He hit just 12 home runs, and the thinking is that one day he will be a plus hitter with plus power. He has made some strides defensively where he struggled a little bit. He could be a fringe average corner outfielder, but not really sure where he'll land yet. His improvement in the field was a big point of emphasis throughout the 25 season. They'll continue on that this year. He is a below average runner, but he does have impressive instincts on the base paths that helped him steal 32 out of 40 bases. Again, he's likely to start the year in double A, could make his big league debut late this season. And if everything comes together, he could be an absolute big time power hitter. He grades out 60 hit tool, 60 power tool, just a 40 run tool, 45 field tool with a 50 arm. Mike Sirota is the third prospect I want to talk about. These guys are all outfielders. They're all in their low 20s. Sirota's 22 years old, 6'2", 180 pounds. He was drafted by the Reds in the third round of the 2024 draft. He was dealt to Los Angeles along with a draft pick. It was eventually used on Arkansas outfielder Charles Davalin, and that was the trade that the Dodgers received for Gavin Lux. So getting back to Sirota, he absolutely destroyed competition at both A levels. He did experience a knee injury in early July that ended his season. So we just want to see him back on the field this year. He's got plus bat speed, knack for finding the barrel, and that leads to 60 grade power. 60 grade raw power, I should say. From a polish standpoint, we'll see where he gets to, but he could be a big power hitter. He stays within the strike zone. He doesn't chase balls as much. He produced some of the best exit velocities in the system. His 90th percentile exit velocity was 107, which is higher than any of the organization's top prospects. Defensively, he's a smooth, consistent center fielder who grades as potentially above average at center field thanks to plus speed and above average arm, but he could play either corner as well, so we'll see where he ends up. He has the future of a center fielder with the skills to hit towards the top of the lineup. Again, 22 years old. He'll start at double A likely this year and see if he finds his way to the Dodgers at some point by the end of the year. By the way, when I said he produced his 90th percentile exit velocity was the highest of any prospect in the system, there was one that was higher, and that is Zahir Hope. He is the last guy I'm going to talk about. He's the 63rd best prospect in all of baseball, as ranked by Baseball America. He, too, is an outfielder, 20 years old. The Cubs bet their 11th round pick on him in 2023. They shipped him and lefty Jackson Ferris to the Dodgers for Michael Busch. The Cubs are enjoying that right now. Michael Busch, really big year last year. But Zaire Hope has power and speed. And, he's going to have to improve his approach and make more contact for him to really blossom. He's got plenty of bat speed, a lot of raw juice. His overall 33.9% and 26.8% overall and zone swing and miss rates were below average. And that, sometimes he went through these boom or bust stretches, especially at high A ball, where he was either crushing the ball or missing the ball. He does have a sharp batting eye. He struggles against left-handers more than right-handers. Lefties, he only hit .215 against them. If he's going to succeed, I think it's likely to be doing so because he's able to stick in center field where he can use his 55 run speed. Again, he does have 60 grade power, but only 40 grade hit tools. He'll likely return to AA in 2026. He could be a corner outfielder in the future with power speed profile that some teams covet. Not going to hit for a huge average, but again, he's the 63rd best prospect in baseball for a reason. Now, when you look at the international signing class, the Dodgers did sign the 29th best prospect, Ezekiel Melbourne, a shortstop, back in January, signed for $747,500 out of the Dominican Republic. 16 years old. He's already 6'3", 170 pounds. So the Dodgers trying to replenish that farm system if they do graduate some players. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it. If for some reason the Dodgers had to trade away players or wanted to trade away players because maybe they weren't in playoff contention, it's not going to happen. But they do have some good trade assets. And maybe they make these trades because other players come up and just do a better job. But a guy like Blake Trinan, he's paid $13.5 million this year, and he's a free agent next year. So he's a trade asset. Max Muncy's paid $10 million this year, $7 million next year, and then there's a $10 million club option in 28. Evan Phillips paid $6.5 million this year, and he's a free agent in 27. Again, that's going to get a little complicated based on him coming back from Tommy John surgery. Miguel Rojas was re-signed this year for $5.5 million. He's a free agent at the end of this season. Enrique Hernandez signed for $4.5 million. He's a free agent in 27. Alex Vesia, $3.65 million he's paid this year, and he's a free agent next year. And then Brewster Gratterall, $2.8 million this year, free agent next year. Again, he's coming back from shoulder surgery. So there are players that the Dodgers could move to replenish their farm system, or if they wanted to trade for, a major league ready bat, maybe there's something there, but don't really think about it because the Dodgers are a really, really good team. How good are they, Jamie? You may ask. Well, I see no way this team is going to be outside of the top line of my pyramid, the very top level. Could they be in the number 2 level? Maybe, but look, this is the best team in baseball. They've won the World Series 2 years in a row. They've got all the makings of doing it again. I think this team is the best team in baseball. So with that, let's go on to the final team we're going to look at, the Miami Marlins. The Miami Marlins, they have had 8 winning seasons in their 33-year history, 4 playoff appearances in those 8 winning seasons, and 2 World Series wins, 1997 and 2003. Recently, this team has made 1 playoff appearance in the last 5 years. They won 67 games in 2021, 69 games in 22, 84 and 78 in 2023, make the playoffs. They did lose the National League wild card 2-0 to Philadelphia, but a nice, surprising playoff run there. Not playoff run, but they made the playoffs. They went from 84 wins in 23 to 62 wins in 2024. Yes, they dropped 22 games. Last year, they had actually had a pretty nice year from the way I see it. They won 79 games, 79 and 83. They were 23-38 on June 6th. And afterwards, they went 56-45. They won 11 out of 12 at one point in September. So, what is this team? It's really interesting. It's hard to understand. And if I'm a Marlins fan, it's like, just give me something. Give me a plan. Give me a plan that allows us to succeed for the long term, not just in these spurts where we might win a year and then we're trading our best players the next year. Now, Skip Schumacher is the skipper. He has been there since the 2023 season when they made the playoffs. He's a World Series champion with the 11 Cardinals. He was a utility player. He's one of the best young managers in baseball. He's smart, modern baseball thinker who blends analytics with traditional instincts. He's a strong communicator. I talked to you how he led to the team to the playoffs. Look, there are serious small market constraints here. There's a lot of roster turnover. I just talked about it. What I don't understand is I don't see this as being a small market team. Maybe it's more of a transient community in Miami. Maybe there's a lot of tourism there that doesn't lead to, a lot of people being there night in and night out. But the Heat seem pretty well supported. The Dolphins seem pretty well supported. So I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I think there just needs to be a plan. And I believe that with Skip Schumacher, you have a really good manager in place. They have a president of baseball operations, Peter Bendix, who was hired in November of 2023. He was previously the GM of the Tampa Bay Rays. He oversees roster construction, player development, analytics, integration, draft and international strategy, and front office hiring. He's one of the smartest young executives in the game. He has a very deep analytics background. His hiring was seen as a major signal that the team does want to operate more like a Cleveland or Milwaukee or Tampa. So hopefully that can happen. Bruce Sherman is the owner. He purchased the team for $1.2 billion in 2017. He is the leader of an ownership group. He absolutely supported the rebuilding of the baseball operations infrastructure. Payroll is usually among the lowest in baseball. I think I told you it was $77 million compared to the Dodgers' $395 million. The franchise has this long reputation for roster resets. I just talked about that. They trade away star players. Again, they get to some semblance of sustained success. They play in Lone Depot Park. It's one of the newer stadiums in baseball. Plays a little bit above average, 102 on an average of 100. April hitting is down about 4%. May it's down 2%. June it's 0. July it is -4. August is up 3%, and September up 6%. Now, you've heard me go on my rants about support, and I guess if there's one team I do kind of feel bad for, it's Miami. They do just build and then trade, and you get excited only to have your heart torn out. And, forget 2021. They drew 642,000 fans. It was coming back from COVID. Granted, this was Florida, where maybe COVID restrictions were lessened. But 2022, they had full reign to enter the stadium and only drew 907,000 fans. 2023 was up to 1.2 million fans. 2024, it was 1.1 million fans. And then last year, 2.2 million fans. It's tough. I wish they'd draw much better. Let's see what happens if they can start winning. I mean, that playoff year, when they went to the playoffs, they only drew 1.2 million fans. So that's disappointing. Not a lot of change from this team over last year, although, again, some of the players that did change were of bigger name, probably none bigger than Edward Cabrera, who was traded to the Cubs. Cabrera, 8-7 with a 3.53 ERA, 137 and 2/3 innings, 150 strikeouts, and a 123 WHIP. They also traded Ryan Weathers to the Yankees. Weathers 2-2 with a 3.99 ERA, started 8 games, 38 1/3 innings, 37 strikeouts, and a 128 WHIP. Weathers pitched for San Diego, Miami. Now he's going with the Yankees. He's kind of a sleeper for me. Wouldn't be surprised if he had a really good year. Joey Weimer was traded to the Giants. Weimer, 236, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs last year, so limited action. Dane Myers was traded to the Reds. Myers, 235, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, 18 stolen bases. We talked about him when we went over the Reds. And then Eric Wagaman was traded to the Twins, first baseman, 250, 9 home runs, 53 RBIs. So again, Cabrera and Weathers probably the two biggest losses, but these were, in fairness, all trades. They were not free agent losses. So who did they add? Well, that trade with the Cubs brought over Owen Cassie. He's an outfielder, did get some time with the Cubs last year, played in the World Baseball Classic. I saw he hit a home run. Only 192 last year, 1 homer, 4 RBIs, but I think Casey is going to get a chance in this lineup every day. Excited to see what he can do. Pete Fairbanks signed as a free agent, a relief pitcher. Fairbanks, really nice pitcher, 4-5 with a 2.83 ERA, 61 games, 27 saves, 16 1/3 innings, 59 strikeouts, and a 104 whip. Fairbanks is likely to close for this team this year. Let's see. Christopher Morel came over as a utility infielder, 219, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs. Estuary Ruiz came over in a trade with the Dodgers. He struggled. He has struggled. He has had some injuries, but he did steal 67 bases with the Athletics back in 2023, and he batted 254 that year. So, possibly some upside there. Chris Paddock, a relief pitcher, signs with this team, 5-12 with a 5.35 ERA. I said he's a relief pitcher. He started 28 games last year. Paddock is likely to be in this starting rotation. 158 innings, just 112 strikeouts, and a 128 whip. But an arm to add to that starting rotation since they did lose Cabrera and Weathers. And then John King, a relief pitcher, 2-1 with a 4.66 ERA last year. Appeared in 51 games, 48 1/3 innings, 28 strikeouts, a 163 whip. So again, not a lot of changes in this team. Let's talk about how they finished last year. Let's start with hitting. They were 11th in average, 17th in on-base percentage, and 18th in OPS. So, mid-tier and right in the middle. Not saying that this is a horrible lineup. So let's look at it. And I'll go through, position by position first. So center field, Jacob Marcy, 24-year-old, 6th round pick from San Diego, came over in a trade with the Padres in May of 2024. Last year, Marcy batted 292, got on base at a 363 clip, stole 14 bases, 5 home runs. It's a guy that could lead off for this team. Xavier Edwards, second base. He's 26 years old. He was the 38th overall pick of San Diego back in 2018. Came over in a trade with Tampa in 2022. Xavier Edwards, 283, gets on base at a 343 clip. Not bad. Only 3 home runs, but stole 27 bases. So those top 2 guys, you got some speed and guys that get on base. Kyle Stowers came over in a trade with the Orioles. Stowers was the 71st overall pick back in 2019. Left-handed stick, and he was remarkable last year. 288, a 368 on-base percentage, 544 slugging percentage. So, 900 plus OPS, 25 home runs, 5 stolen bases. Stowers will stick in the middle of that lineup. Catcher, Agustin Ramirez, 24 years old, right-handed bat, came over in July of 24 in a trade with the Yankees. All right. Last year, 231, but he hit 21 home runs, stole 16 bases, 413 slugging percentage. So you've got some power now in the middle of that lineup to go with Stowers. Griffin Conine is now 28 years old, left-handed DH, 253 last year, 2 home runs, no stolen bases, just 86 plate appearances. He was the 52nd overall pick of the Blue Jays back in 2018. You've got Otto Lopez at shortstop. Lopez, 246, 15 home runs, 15 stolen bases, only gets on base at a 305 clip. Look, there is the potential for him to be a 2020 guy. Christopher Morel comes over, first baseman. Morel, 219 last year, 11 home runs, 7 stolen bases. Not a big fan of Morel. Was in Chicago, Tampa, came over to this team. We'll see what he can do at first base. I feel like that's an area that needs to be addressed for this team. Connor Norby, another guy that came from the Orioles, 41st overall pick in 2021. Norby will be about 26 years old by opening day. 251, 8 home runs, 8 stolen bases last year, 300 on base percentage. Hopefully he gets the chance to play a little bit more. And then I already mentioned Owen Casey, left-handed stick, came over in the trade from the Cubs, and we will see what this guy can do. Casey was a top 100 prospect of the Cubs, so, hopefully they have something there with Casey. On the bench then, backup catcher, first baseman Liam Hicks, batted 247 last year, 6 home runs, 346 on base percentage, so a good left-handed stick. You've got 3 guys that can play outfield: Javier Sonoja, Hernaberto Hernandez, and Estuary Ruiz. Those 3 guys, and by the way, Sonoja can also play infield. Ruiz only batted 190 last year in 23 plate appearances. Hernandez, 266 with 10 home runs. He gets on base at a 347 clip. That's not bad. That was in 294 plate appearances. And then Sonoja, 243, 6 home runs, 6 stolen bases. That was in 342 plate appearances. So that's the hitting for this team. Look, it feels like if they replicate what they did last year, they should be really happy with themselves. Hitting wise, I don't think this team is quite as good as they averaged last year, but again, we'll see what they can do this year. Let's talk about their pitching, because I think this could be an area that is a very good positive for this team. Their starting pitching. Now, they were 26th in ERA and 19th in WHIP last year, so kind of bottom third of the league. Sandy Alcantara was coming back from Tommy John surgery and really struggled, but near the end of the season, he really started pitching well. He ended up throwing 174 and 2/3 innings. He started 31 games, 42 strikeouts, a 5.36 ERA. But again, don't be fooled, because the last part of his season was really good. Yuri Perez has the potential to be a top of the rotation arm. Perez, 95 and a third innings, just 68 hits and 105 strikeouts last year. Walked 32 batters. That's not terrible. His ERA was a little inflated, 4.25. Both of those guys, you just have to worry about injuries for them. But they could be 2 really good 1-2 starters for this rotation. I mentioned Chris Paddock coming over. He was a free agent signed from Detroit. Paddock, 5.35 ERA last year. Not great numbers, 158 innings, 166 hits, only 112 strikeouts. But with those 158 innings, he could be an innings eater. Max Meyer, is it time for Max Meyer to kind of come on the scene now? He was the 3rd overall pick in 2020. Last year, 64 and 2/3 innings, 72 hits, 68 strikeouts. I think the braces will be off this guy this year. 4.73 ERA last year. I think he'll get the ball every 5th day and be given every opportunity to show what he can do. And then Braxton Garrett was a first-round, 7th overall pick of this team in 2016, battled a bunch of injuries. If he is healthy, I would love to see what this guy can do, because honestly, between Alcantara, Perez, Meyer, and Garrett, I think this could be a really good starting rotation to back up an average lineup. What about the bullpen? So bullpen, they were 22nd in ERA, 21st in WHIP, back 3rd of the league. But they add Pete Fairbanks, a proven closer. Again, 27 saves last year, 2.83 ERA. Calvin Foucher pitched to a 3.28 ERA. He'll be in a setup role this year. 60 in the 3rd innings, 53 hits, 59 strikeouts. He saved 15 games, so less pressure on him in a setup role. And then Tyler Phillips is the other setup guy, 2.78 ERA, 77 and 2/3 innings. He gave up 65 hits and struck out 52. So not bad setup guys for the new closer Fairbanks. Middle relief, you've got Anthony Bender. Bender, 2.16 ERA last year, 50 innings, just 32 hits and 42 strikeouts. Good middle reliever. Cade Gibson is another middle reliever, 54 and 2/3 innings, 44 hits, 43 strikeouts, pitched to a 2.63 ERA. Really good numbers. Andrew Nardi was a 16th round pick of Miami back in 2019. Didn't pitch last year on this major league roster. He's going to be in the bullpen and get a chance to fall into a middle relief role. He's a left-hander. We'll see what he can do. John King, I mentioned he was signed this year as a free agent, 48 and a third innings, 65 hits, and only 28 strikeouts. His ERA was 4.66. So, on the backside of that middle relief area. Long reliever likely falls to Jansen Junk. 110 innings, 112 hits, and 77 strikeouts last year, a 4.17 ERA. This team does have a couple players. Adam Major, who's a starting pitcher, had Tommy John surgery back in early March, so he will miss the year. Ronnie Henriquez is another guy that had Tommy John surgery in December. He will likely miss all of the year. Graham Pauley is a backup infielder, a left-handed stick. He's had some forearm tightness. He'll start the year likely on the IL. So a couple injuries there for the Marlins. But again, they do have some good pieces overall. Let's talk about their farm system a little bit. This is a team that did not have as good of a farm system in the last couple of years. 2021, they were 10th. 2022, they were 20th. Same in 2023, 20th. 2024, they were 27th. 2025, 21st, but now they've jumped into the top 10. Baseball America has them at 8. Let me start with the 13th overall prospect, according to Baseball America, and the number 1 top prospect for the Marlins. That is Thomas White, 21-year-old, 6'5", 210-pound left-hand pitcher. He was the top high school left-hander in the 23 draft class. Signed well over slot, $4.1 million as the 35th overall pick. His first full pro season, he struck out 30% of the batters he faced, 2.81 ERA, and that was across low A and high A ball in 2024. 2025, a 2.31 ERA, 38.6% strikeout rate, advanced from high A ball to triple A. Look, he's got everything. The one thing he lacks is some control. His walk rate actually climbed from 9.2% in 24 to 13.6% in 25. It's something he has to get better at. He is a big 6'5", 240-pound guy. He's got an electric arsenal, compact arm stroke that stays hidden until the last instant, so it's a little deceptive. He's got a high 3/4 arm slot. Fastball sits 94 to 96 and touches 99, has a lot of life through the zone. His biggest weapon is probably a sweeper that goes into the low to mid 80s sweeper. It's a 50% miss rate on that pitch, 31% chase rate. Unbelievable. He's got a mid 80s changeup that took a leap forward in 2025. Again, it's all about control with him. If he can get that worked out, no matter what, he should be in Miami this year. He doesn't pitch a lot of innings. He actually pitched into the 6th just twice in 2025. Whether that's them just controlling his innings, I'm not sure. He's got all the ingredients to be a frontline starter. And look, the Marlins are really good at developing pitchers. He could be a potential ace. I would expect him to reach the majors at some point in 2026, a guy definitely to keep your eye on. Robbie Snelling is another pitcher. Again, the Marlins pump these pitchers out. Snelling, a left-handed pitcher, 22 years old, another big guy, 6'3", 210 pounds, 41st prospect in all of baseball. Snelling chose baseball over football after signing with the Padres for $3 million. That was $1 million over slot. He was a supplemental first-round pick. His first full season in 2023, he pitched to a 1.82 ERA, rose to Double-A ball, earned minor league pitcher of the year. Did have a rocky 2024. His command and sharpness faded, and he actually pitched to a 6.01 ERA in 16 starts and was traded to the Marlins. I don't know if the Padres gave up on him, but in 2025, he absolutely rebounded and ranked 4th in the minors with 166 strikeouts. He was 5th with a 2.51 ERA and absolutely excelled at AAA, a 1.27 ERA, 81 strikeouts, and 17 walks in just 63 2/3 innings. His 2024 struggles stemmed from some erratic control issues. He saw his velocity dip. He did make tweaks to his delivery, which is more upright now and repeatable. And when you have repeatable motion, it does help you with your command. So he's become more of a strike thrower. He's got a high 3/4 slot delivery. 94.5 mile an hour fastball that touches 99, produces a 30% miss rate and a 31% chase rate. He's got a sharp 2-plane low 80s curveball. It's viewed as a plus now. He's got a slider into a slider into a tighter gyro look. And that turned out to be a really good pitch for him. He's also got a high 80s changeup that is a reliable chase weapon for him. Again, all of his improvements after coming to Florida last year, he had a career best 7.1% walk rate on a career best 30.3% strikeout rate. Really good numbers for him. Let's see. Look, he could be a number 2, number 3 starter, maybe not a number 1 starter. He's got a chance to break with the Cubs this year out of spring training, but I don't think so. I think it's likely he's going to go back to AAA. But if there are injuries of any kind, do not be surprised if Snelling is in this starting rotation for the Marlins. A couple more players. The third prospect for the Marlins, 42 overall, is Iva Arquette, a shortstop, 22 years old, 6'4", 200 pounds. He broke out in 2024 at Washington, where he hit .325, getting on base 38% of the time with a .574 slugging percentage, 12 home runs. He transferred to Oregon State in 25 and shifted from second base to shortstop, and then hit another .354, got on base 46% of the time with a .654 slugging percentage and 19 home runs. The Marlins drafted him 7th overall and signed him for a slot value bonus of $7.2 million or so. He's got a free and easy right-handed swing that generates above average bat speed and plus raw power. He drives the ball to all fields. Swing and miss and chase tendencies do show up in his profile, but he did refine that approach a little bit in 2025. He improved his plate discipline, his exit velocity of 93.5 miles an hour on average, and a 59% hard hit rate. Pretty good numbers. His 60% zone swing rate reflected a bit of hesitation, and he may be overcorrecting a little bit at times on his swing. He's an average runner once he gets underway, but he doesn't have, certainly doesn't have elite speed. He's got arm strength where he could stick at shortstop, although he is a little bit tall, but he does have that plus accurate arm from the lower slot. Ultimately, third base, he might be better suited at just due to his frame, 6'4", but definitely would see him reaching the upper minors in 26. Could get a look at some time late in the season with the Marlins. Owen Casey, I want to dig into his prospect profile because he is still considered a prospect, but he did get some at-bats with the Cubs last year. He's 23 years old. He's an outfielder, 6'3", 190 pounds. Again, the Padres drafted him in the second round of the 2020 draft, signed him for $1.2 million. He was traded to the Cubs as part of the Yu Darvish trade, made his debut on August 14th last year. It was kind of cool. It was in his hometown of Toronto. That's who he played for in the World Baseball Classic. It was Toronto, or Team Canada, and he hit a home run for them. He appeared in 12 games for the Cubs, was acquired by the Marlins for the Edward Cabrera trade. He's improved both his contact rates and his chase rates in each of his last 2 years. He has declined his strikeouts each of the last 2 years. His biggest strength is quality of contact. He's got plus raw power. His batted ball angles have improved over the last 2 seasons. He's got a higher home run ceiling based on all the work that he's done. He's a fringe average runner, lost some range over time, and can look a little bit uncoordinated on maximum effort plays. He's a fringe average defender in a corner outfield spot, I should say. He profiles as a major league ready, slugging corner outfielder and has the plate skills to project as an above average regular. He should crack the Marlins opening day lineup. Looking at his scouting grades, he's got a hit tool of 50, a power tool of 65. Again, running 45, fielding 45, and arm 60. But could be, with that arm especially, maybe a good right fielder. The only other player and the very last player that I'm profiling in this prospect world for 2026 is catcher Joe Mack, 23 years old, 6'1", 210 pounds. Look, the Marlins have a lot of these guys that are on the cusp of showing up in Miami. Mack had an injury-shortened first full pro season in 2022 and a relatively poor 2023 campaign. But then in 2024, he hit 24 home runs, lit up lit up the Midwest League, which is high A ball, but then ended up in Double A Pensacola, ended up on the top 100 prospect list. His hitting continued in 2025. He played Double A for just 13 games before he was promoted to Triple A. He hit 250, 32% on base percentage, not great, but a 459 slugging percentage. He hit 18 home runs, 18 doubles, 90 mile per hour exit velocity average over 99 games. He's a left-handed batter that stands tall with a high hand set and compact kind of load. He's got a quick bat, strong forearms that help him generate above average raw power. He's got pretty good pitch recognition and discipline. Look, when he connects, his contact is loud and he produces a lot of high-end exit velocities, especially on his pull side. He's an above average receiver as a catcher. He presents pitches really nicely and gets strikeouts on the edges. We'll see how automated strike system works this year. He's got a plus arm that controls the run game. So, his blend of defense, power, and his refined hitting approach makes him one of the top catching prospects in the upper minors. He'll likely begin the year at AAA, but wouldn't be surprised to see him on the Marlins team sometime in 2026. So, when you look at this Marlins team and you see them 8th in farm system rankings, you've got a lot of quality guys here that are 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, that are going to be ready to crack the big league soon. They also had a nice international signing class in January. They signed the 16th best prospect, Santiago Solarte, a shortstop, signed him for $1 million out of Venezuela, 17-year-old big guy, 6'5", 200 pounds. And then they signed the 27th best prospect, Ronnie Munoz, a shortstop, $1.45 million out of the Dominican Republic, 17 years old. He is 5'11", 165 pounds. Solarte, by the way, is a left-handed stick. So this is a Marlins team that I think they're decent. Honestly, they'll be fun to watch. I don't think they will necessarily be a playoff contender. If they are not, I think the 3 players that you look at as trade assets, one is Pete Fairbanks, who's going to be their closer. Fairbanks is signed for $13 million this year and then a free agent in 27. He could garner some kind of return for a team that's contending and needs a bullpen arm. Chris Paddock, I mentioned, signed for $4 million this year. He's a free agent after this year. And Paddock, if he has a good year, again, could be a good arm for a contending team, whether it's in long relief, the bullpen, or even as a starting pitcher. I think that the number one asset for this team, clearly, though, is Sandy Alcantara. There's been trade rumors even last season, throughout this offseason, even now. Alcantara is owed $17.3 million this year. He's got a $21 million club option next year. If he pitches well, if he is the Sandy of old, this is a guy who will garner top-level return for this Marlins team, exactly what they need as they are starting to build this next really good team. And again, they crank out arms, so a guy like Sandy Alcantara might be a good tradable asset. Where does this team fall in my pyramid? They're not in the first 2 tiers. They're not in the first 3 tiers. They're probably squarely in that 4th or 5th tier, somewhere in between there. But I don't think they're a terrible team. I really don't. I think they're on the way up versus on the way down. I hope they just have some sustainability with this team. So that, my friends, is your Florida Marlins. Or should I say your Miami Marlins? Wow, incredible. We got through 30 teams, all 30 teams. You know everything you need to know about every team in baseball. Opening night is Wednesday with 1 game, Yankees, Giants, I believe it is. And then a full day of games on next Thursday. Again, you should be so well prepared for this season by listening to these podcasts, which covered 2 teams per podcast. I will bring it all together this weekend with a show that goes through previews, predictions, telling you where I think some awards will end up falling. Really excited to do that show. It's kind of the culmination of everything we talked about. For now, though, that is it. Again, if you like this podcast, Honestly, even if you don't, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up. I'd love for you to subscribe to it. Put a lot of time and effort into this off hours. And again, I love doing it. But getting that gratification of seeing people really subscribe and give it a thumbs up and even make comments, I love that. So please subscribe on wherever you're listening to your podcast, including YouTube. Give it a thumbs up if you could. Follow me on X and on Instagram at TellusEllisHQ. And then send me feedback. Email me, jamie@tellusellis.com. Would love to hear from you. Again, really excited to get through everything. And until we go through the preview show, hope you enjoy yourself. Take care.